In a distant part of the galaxy, far from Earth, there was a small human colony called New Haven. It was a place where people had started new lives, building homes and farms on an alien planet. The colony was led by Governor Laura Hayes, a strong and caring woman who worked hard to keep everyone safe. For years, life had been peaceful. People worked together, children played in the fields, and the colony grew stronger every day. But beyond the stars, trouble was brewing. On board the human battleship *US Invincible*, Captain Ryan Carter stood on the bridge, looking out at the endless expanse of space. He was a tall man with sharp eyes and a calm demeanor. His crew respected him for his wisdom and courage. The Invincible* was one of humanity's most powerful ships, equipped with advanced weapons and technology. Its mission was simple: protect the colonies from any threat. But lately, strange reports had been coming in about unusual activity near New Haven's borders. Captain Carter turned to his communications officer, Lieutenant Emily Dawson. "Anything new?" he asked. Emily shook her head. "No, sir. Just silence. Whatever is out there, it doesn't want to talk." Carter frowned. Silence was never a good sign. In space, silence often meant danger. The crew knew that tensions had been rising with the Krill, an alien species known for their aggression. They were tall, insect-like creatures with glowing green eyes and razor-sharp claws. The Krill saw humans as invaders, believing they had no right to settle on worlds outside their own solar system. So far, there had been no direct conflict, but everyone aboard the Invincible* could feel that something was about to change. Chief Engineer Jack Monroe walked onto the bridge, wiping grease from his hands. "Sir," he said, addressing Carter, "I've finished upgrading the shields. If we run into trouble, we'll be ready." Carter nodded. "Good work, Jack. We might need them sooner than we think." Later that day, a scout ship returned from patrol with alarming news. The pilot reported seeing large groups of Krill ships gathering near New Haven's outer rim. They were moving slowly, almost like they were waiting for something. Captain Carter immediately called a meeting with his senior officers. Around the table sat Lieutenant Dawson, Chief Engineer Monroe, and Dr. Samantha Brooks, the ship's medical officer. "We have two options," Carter began. "We can wait here and see what happens, or we can go out there and find out what the Krill are planning. Either way, I won't let them harm our people." Everyone agreed that waiting wasn't an option. They needed answers, and fast. The next morning, the Invincible* set course for the edge of New Haven's territory. As they approached, the crew scanned the area carefully. The tension on the ship was thick. No one spoke much, and even the hum of the engine seemed quieter than usual. Then suddenly, the sensors picked up movement. Dozens of Krill ships appeared on the screen surrounding them. Lieutenant Dawson leaned forward, her fingers flying over the controls. "They're hailing us, sir," she said. Carter took a deep breath. "Put them through." A harsh voice crackled over the speakers. "Leave this place, humans, or face destruction." The message was short and cold, leaving no room for negotiation. Captain Carter clenched his fists. He didn't want to start a war, but he also couldn't abandon the colony. Turning to his crew, he gave the order: "Prepare for battle." Outside the windows, the vastness of space stretched endlessly, beautiful yet deadly. Somewhere out there, an enemy waited, ready to strike, and aboard the Invincible*, the crew braced themselves for what was to come. Though fear lingered in the air, there was also determination. These were humans, resourceful, brave, and unwilling to give up without a fight. Little did they know, this encounter would mark the beginning of a battle that would test not only their strength, but also their unity and resolve. The *US Invincible* floated silently in space, its crew tense and ready for action. Captain Ryan Carter stood on the bridge, staring at the screen showing the Krill ships surrounding them. The alien vessels were sleek and menacing, their sharp edges glinting in the light of a distant star. The message they had received was clear: leave or be destroyed. But leaving wasn't an option. New Haven depended on them. Carter turned to Lieutenant Emily Dawson, his communications officer. "Can we try talking to them again?" he asked. Emily nodded and adjusted the controls. She sent a calm message, introducing themselves as humans seeking peace. Moments passed, but there was no response. Instead, the Krill ships began moving closer, forming a tight circle around the Invincible Asterisk. It felt like a trap. "We need more information," Carter said. "Send out a scout team." Lieutenant Dawson quickly assembled a small group of pilots, including herself, to investigate. They climbed into two smaller ships and launched from the Invincible Asterisk, heading toward the nearest Krill vessel. As they approached, the alien ships loomed larger, their jagged designs casting eerie shadows. Suddenly, alarms blared inside the scout ships. The Krill had activated weapons and opened fire without warning. Bright beams of energy shot through space, narrowly missing the scouts. Dawson's hands moved quickly over the controls as she maneuvered her ship out of harm's way. "They're attacking," she shouted into the comms. Behind her, the other scout ship wasn't so lucky. A blast hit it directly, sending it spinning out of control before exploding in a burst of flames. Dawson's heart raced as she watched her teammate's ship vanish. She couldn't afford to freeze now. "Fall back," she ordered the remaining pilot. Together, they dodged more attacks, weaving through the chaos as explosions lit up the darkness around them. The Krill fighters pursued relentlessly, firing volley after volley. Just when it seemed they wouldn't make it, the two surviving scouts reached the safety of the Invincible Asterisk. Back aboard the battleship, the crew rushed to assess the damage. Captain Carter greeted Dawson as she stepped off her ship, her face pale but determined. "Report," he said. Dawson took a deep breath. "2 ships lost, sir. The Krill aren't interested in talking. They attacked on sight." Carter's jaw tightened. He had hoped for diplomacy, but the Krill had made their intentions clear. Chief Engineer Jack Monroe approached, wiping sweat from his brow. "Sir, we've analyzed their weapons. They're powerful, more advanced than anything we've seen before. If they hit us with everything they've got, our shields won't hold forever." Carter nodded grimly. "Then we'll have to outsmart them." In the hours that followed, the crew worked tirelessly to prepare for a fight. Monroe led a team reinforcing the ship's defenses, while Dr. Samantha Brooks organized the medical bay for potential casualties. On the bridge, Carter studied the layout of the Krill fleet, looking for weaknesses. Despite the odds, he refused to give up. These were his people, and he would do whatever it took to protect them. As night fell, or what passed for night in the endless void of space, the mood aboard the Invincible Asterisk grew heavier. Conversations were hushed, and meals were eaten in silence. Everyone knew what was coming. The Krill weren't going to back down, and neither were the humans. Lieutenant Dawson sat alone in her quarters, replaying the attack in her mind. She had seen death up close today, and it weighed heavily on her. But she also remembered the faces of her crewmates who were counting on her. She couldn't let fear stop her from doing her job. Taking a deep breath, she stood up and returned to the bridge. On the screen, the Krill fleet remained ominously still, waiting. Captain Carter addressed his crew over the intercom. "This is it," he said, his voice steady. "We don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I do know this. We are humans. We've faced challenges before, and we've always found a way to overcome them. Let's show the Krill what we're made of." The crew responded with quiet determination. Outside, the vastness of space stretched endlessly, beautiful yet terrifying. Somewhere beyond the stars, fate awaited. And aboard the Invincible Asterisk, the countdown to battle had begun. Captain Ryan Carter called an emergency meeting in the U.S. Invincible Asterisk's briefing room. The walls were lined with screens displaying maps of the Krill fleet and data about their weapons. Around the table sat Lieutenant Emily Dawson, Chief Engineer Jack Monroe, Dr. Samantha Brooks, and a few other senior officers. Everyone looked tired but focused. The loss of 2 scout ships still weighed heavily on their minds, but there was no time to dwell on it. They had to act. Carter stood at the head of the table, his expression serious. "We've analyzed the situation," he began. "The Krill are planning something big. If we don't stop them now, they'll attack New Haven. We can't let that happen." He paused, letting his words sink in. "Our best chance is to strike first, hit them hard before they're ready." Lieutenant Dawson raised her hand hesitantly. "Sir, if we attack, won't that make things worse? What if this turns into a full-scale war?" Her voice carried both concern and doubt. Carter nodded. "I understand your worry, Lieutenant, but doing nothing isn't an option either. If we wait, they'll only grow stronger. This might be our only chance to stop them." Chief Engineer Monroe leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table. "If we're going to fight, we'll need every advantage we can get. I've been working on some upgrades for our weapons systems. With a little more time, I think I can boost their power by 20%. Carter gave him a grateful nod. "Good. Do whatever it takes. We'll need all the firepower we can muster." Dr. Brooks, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "What about casualties? If this goes badly, we could lose a lot of people. Are we prepared for that?" Her question hung in the air, heavy and uncomfortable. Carter sighed. "We'll do everything we can to minimize losses. But yes, we have to be ready for the worst. That's why you're here, Doctor, to keep our crew alive." As the meeting continued, the crew discussed tactics and strategies. Some suggested splitting the fleet to confuse the enemy, while others argued for a direct assault. In the end, Carter decided on a bold plan. They would use the Invincible Asterisk's cloaking device to sneak past the Krill's outer defenses and launch a surprise attack on their flagship. It was risky, but it might just work. After the meeting, the crew scattered to prepare. Monroe returned to the engine room, where his team worked tirelessly to upgrade the ship's systems. Sparks flew as they welded new components into place, and the hum of machinery filled the air. Despite the long hours, no one complained. They knew how important their work was. On the bridge, Lieutenant Dawson ran simulations of the upcoming battle. She tested different scenarios, trying to predict how the Krill might react. Each run-through revealed new challenges, but she refused to give up. "There has to be a way," she muttered to herself, her fingers flying over the controls. Meanwhile, Captain Carter walked through the ship, checking on his crew. He stopped by the mess hall, where a group of young cadets sat eating together. Their faces were pale but determined. "How are you holding up?" he asked. One of them, a boy barely out of his teens, looked up. "We're scared, sir," he admitted, "but we're ready to do our part." Carter smiled faintly. "That's all anyone can ask for." Back on the bridge, Carter stared out at the stars. The weight of command rested heavily on his shoulders. He thought about the colony on New Haven, the families, the children, the future they were fighting for. Failure wasn't an option. Turning to Dawson, he said, "Set a course for the Krill flagship. Let's end this." As the Invincible Asterisk moved silently through space, the tension aboard the ship grew thicker. Everyone knew what was coming. There was no turning back now. Outside, the vastness of space stretched endlessly, beautiful yet unforgiving. Somewhere ahead, the Krill awaited, unaware of the storm heading their way. And aboard the Invincible Asterisk, the final preparations for battle were underway. The US Invincible Asterisk drifted silently through the darkness of space, its cloaking device rendering it invisible to the Krill fleet. Captain Ryan Carter stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the main screen. The Krill flagship loomed ahead, a massive, jagged structure that looked more like a weapon than a ship. Its surface bristled with cannons and turrets, glowing faintly in the dim light of a distant star. This was their target, the heart of the enemy fleet. Lieutenant Emily Dawson monitored the sensors, her hands hovering over the controls. "We're within range, sir," she reported quietly. "No sign they've detected us yet." Carter nodded. "Good. Keep us steady." He turned to Chief Engineer Jack Monroe, who was standing nearby. "How are the weapons holding up?" Monroe gave a thumbs up. "Upgrades are online. We're ready to fire when you give the order." As they approached, something unexpected appeared on the screen. The Krill flagship wasn't just armed to the teeth, it was also carrying hundreds of smaller ships docked along its sides. But these weren't Krill vessels. They were sleek, rounded ships belonging to another alien species. Carter frowned. "What's going on here?" he asked aloud. Dawson zoomed in on the image. "Sir, those ships, they look damaged, like they've been captured or enslaved." Carter's stomach sank. The Krill weren't just building an army, they were using other species as tools. His mind raced. If they destroyed the flagship, they might also kill the enslaved aliens aboard. But if they didn't act, the Krill would use those ships against New Haven. It was a moral dilemma he hadn't anticipated. Before he could decide, the cloaking device flickered. Alarms blared across the bridge. "They've spotted us," Dawson shouted. On the screen, the Krill flagship began to turn, its weapons powering up. Carter clenched his fists. "All hands, battle stations," he ordered. The crew sprang into action, their movements quick and practiced. Within moments, the invincible shields flared to life as the first volley of enemy fire streaked toward them. "Return fire," Carter barked. The invincible unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, striking the flagship's engines. Explosions erupted across its surface, lighting up the darkness of space. But the Krill weren't defenseless. Their cannons roared to life, sending beams of green energy slicing through the void. One blast grazed the invincible shaking the entire ship. Crew members stumbled, but no one fell. They had trained for this. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Monroe worked frantically to keep the ship running smoothly. Sparks flew as circuits overloaded, and smoke filled the air. "Come on, hold together," he muttered, slamming his fist against a control panel. Behind him, a young engineer shouted, "Shields are down to 40%. Monroe gritted his teeth. "Divert power from non-essential systems. We need every bit we can get." On the bridge, Lieutenant Dawson kept her focus on the enslaved alien ships. "Sir, I'm picking up signals from inside those vessels. It sounds like distress calls." Carter's eyes widened. "Can we send a message back?" Dawson nodded and typed quickly. Moments later, the response came, a series of strange symbols flashing on the screen. "They're responding," she said. "They understand we're trying to help." Carter made his decision. "Change targets. Aim for the docking clamps holding those ships in place. We'll free them, not destroy them." Dawson relayed the order to the weapons team. The invincible adjusted its aim, firing precise shots that severed the clamps without damaging the alien ships. One by one, the vessels broke free, drifting away from the flagship. Inside those ships, the enslaved aliens realized what was happening. They began fighting back against their Krill captors, seizing control of key areas. The flagship's defenses faltered as chaos spread aboard. Carter watched the screen, a small smile forming on his lips. "Looks like we got some allies after all," he said. But the battle wasn't over. The Krill flagship still loomed large, its weapons blazing. The invincible shook again as another blast hit its shields. 30% left, Dawson warned. Carter took a deep breath. "Hold steady. We've started something here. We can't stop now." Outside, the vastness of space glittered with stars, indifferent to the struggle unfolding below. And aboard the invincible the fight raged on. The battle raged on. The US invincible caught in a deadly dance with the Krill flagship. Bright flashes of energy lit up the darkness of space as both ships exchanged fire. The crew aboard the Invincible worked tirelessly, their movements quick and precise despite the chaos around them. Alarms blared, lights flickered, and the ship groaned under the strain of repeated hits. But no one gave up. They had come too far to fail now. Captain Ryan Carter stood at the center of the bridge, his eyes glued to the main screen. The Krill flagship was heavily damaged, its surface scarred by explosions and debris floating in the void. Yet it still fought fiercely, its weapons unleashing relentless barrages of green energy. Shields are down to 15%. Lieutenant Emily Dawson shouted over the noise. Her voice was tense but steady. She knew what was at stake. Chief Engineer Jack Monroe rushed onto the bridge, his face streaked with soot. "Sir, we're losing power fast," he said, breathing hard. "If we take another direct hit, we might not recover." Carter nodded grimly. "We'll have to finish this quickly. Any ideas?" Monroe hesitated for a moment before speaking. "Our last option is to overload their reactors. If we can disable their core, the whole ship will shut down." Carter's jaw tightened. It was risky. Too close to the enemy ship meant putting the Invincible in even greater danger. But they didn't have many options left. "Do it," he ordered. "Lieutenant Dawson, plot a course straight for their reactor chamber. We'll get in, fire everything we've got, and pull back before they can retaliate." Dawson's fingers flew over her console as she calculated the trajectory. "Course set, sir," she said, "but we'll only have seconds to get out alive." Carter turned to the rest of the crew. "Everyone hold on. This is going to be rough." The Invincible surged forward, dodging enemy fire as it closed in on the flagship. The Krill responded furiously, their cannons firing wildly in an attempt to stop the human ship. Explosions rocked the Invincible shaking the crew off their feet. In the medical bay, Dr. Samantha Brooks scrambled to tend to the wounded, her hands moving swiftly as she patched up burns and cuts. Despite the pain, none of the injured begged to stop. They all understood the importance of this fight. As the Invincible approached the reactor chamber, Chief Monroe activated the ship's remaining weapons. "Firing now," he yelled. A barrage of concentrated energy blasts struck the flagship's core, causing massive internal explosions. The alien ship shuddered violently, its systems failing one by one. On board, the enslaved aliens took advantage of the confusion, overpowering their captors and securing control of key areas. With the flagship disabled, the Krill fleet began to retreat. Their smaller ships scattered in all directions, fleeing the battlefield. The Invincible pulled back just in time, its battered frame limping through space. The crew let out a collective sigh of relief, though exhaustion hung heavy in the air. They had won, for now. Captain Carter sank into his chair, rubbing his temples. The cost of victory weighed heavily on him. Too many lives had been lost, and the scars of battle would remain for a long time. Still, there was hope. The enslaved aliens they had freed were already broadcasting messages of gratitude, vowing to stand with humanity against future threats. Lieutenant Dawson looked at the screen, where the freed alien ships were regrouping. "What happens next, sir?" she asked softly. Carter stared out at the stars, his expression thoughtful. "We rebuild," he said, "and we prepare. This battle may be over, but the war isn't. The Krill will return, and when they do, we need to be ready." Outside, the vastness of space stretched endlessly, silent and cold. The Invincible floated quietly among the wreckage, its crew battered but unbroken. Somewhere beyond the stars, new challenges awaited. But for now, they had earned a moment of peace and a chance to fight another day. The Invincible drifted slowly through space, its battered hull a testament to the fierce battle it had just endured. Smoke filled some corridors, and emergency lights cast an eerie red glow across the ship. Yet, despite the damage, the mood aboard was one of cautious relief. The Krill flagship was disabled, their fleet in retreat, and the enslaved aliens were finally free. For the first time in hours, Captain Ryan Carter allowed himself a moment to breathe. On the bridge, Lieutenant Emily Dawson monitored the freed alien ships as they regrouped nearby. Their sleek vessels glided gracefully through the debris field left behind by the battle. "They're hailing us again, sir," she said, her voice tinged with curiosity. Carter nodded. "Put them through." A holographic image flickered to life above the console, revealing an alien figure unlike any the crew had seen before. Her skin shimmered faintly, and her large, almond-shaped eyes radiated intelligence and calm. She introduced herself as Zara Venn, a leader among her people. "Captain Carter," Zara began, her voice soft but clear, "we owe you our freedom. Without your bravery, we would still be prisoners of the Krill." Carter shook his head modestly. "We only did what was right. No one should live in chains." Zara bowed her head slightly in gratitude. "Still, we will not forget this debt. If humanity ever needs allies, you will find us willing to stand at your side." Carter felt a flicker of hope. This wasn't just a victory, it was an opportunity. "We may need your help sooner than you think," he admitted. "The Krill won't stay away forever. When they return, we'll need every advantage we can get." Zora's expression hardened. "Then let us work together. My people have suffered enough under their cruelty. We will fight alongside you." As the transmission ended, Chief Engineer Jack Monroe approached Carter. "Sir, I've patched up the engines as best I can, but we're running on borrowed time. We need to get back to New Haven for repairs, or we might not make it." Carter sighed. He hated leaving the battlefield while so much uncertainty remained, but Monroe was right. The Invincible Asterisk couldn't keep going like this. "Set a course for New Haven," he ordered. "Let's go home." The journey back was quiet but tense. The crew worked around the clock to keep the ship operational, patching leaks, rerouting power, and tending to the wounded. In the medical bay, Dr. Samantha Brooks treated burns, fractures, and exhaustion. Her hands moved steadily, though dark circles under her eyes betrayed her fatigue. Despite everything, she kept smiling at her patients, offering words of encouragement. "You're tougher than you look," she told a young cadet wincing from a bandaged arm. "We'll have you back on your feet in no time." Meanwhile, Carter spent hours reviewing the battle in his quarters. He replayed recordings of the fight, analyzing every decision he'd made. Had he acted too recklessly? Could more lives have been saved? The questions haunted him, but he knew there was no perfect answer in war. All he could do was learn and prepare for next time. When the Invincible Asterisk finally entered New Haven's orbit, cheers erupted across the colony. Governor Laura Hayes greeted the crew personally as they disembarked. "You did it," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "You saved us all." Carter managed a weak smile. "It wasn't just us. We had help from the aliens we freed. They want to ally with us." Hayes' eyes widened. "An alliance? That changes everything." Later that evening, as the crew rested or helped with repairs, Carter stood alone on the observation deck, staring out at the stars. The vastness of space stretched endlessly before him, beautiful yet daunting. Somewhere out there, the Krill were regrouping, plotting their next move. And somewhere else, new allies waited, ready to join the fight. For now, though, there was peace, a fragile, hard-earned peace. Carter took a deep breath, letting the silence wash over him. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge yet, and emerged stronger. But he knew the galaxy was full of dangers, and the road ahead would be long. Still, as he turned to leave the observation deck, he felt a spark of determination ignite within him. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The U.S. Invincible Asterisk sat docked at New Haven's orbital station, surrounded by repair crews and engineers working tirelessly to restore it to full strength. The colony below buzzed with activity, the settlers celebrating their narrow escape from destruction. Governor Laura Hayes had declared a day of gratitude, and banners fluttering in the wind read, "To courage and unity." Yet, Aboard the battleship, Captain Ryan Carter couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. In the days following the battle, negotiations began between humanity and Zuraven's people. Representatives from both sides met aboard the Invincible Asterisk, their discussions spanning hours. Zura explained how the Krill had enslaved dozens of species across the galaxy, forcing them to build weapons and fight their wars. Her people were survivors, scattered and broken. But now, they saw a chance to rise again. "We will share our knowledge," Zora promised. "Together, we can stand against the Krill." Carter listened intently, his mind racing with possibilities. An alliance with Zora's people meant access to advanced technology and strategies humanity hadn't yet discovered. But it also meant responsibility. Protecting New Haven would no longer be just about survival. It would be about leading a united front against a common enemy. He turned to Lieutenant Emily Dawson after one meeting. "What do you think?" he asked. Dawson hesitated before answering. "It's risky, sir. Trusting someone new isn't easy. But I believe we don't have a choice. If we want to win, we need allies." As repairs continued, the crew of the Invincible Asterisk took time to rest and recover. Chief Engineer Jack Monroe supervised the work, ensuring every system was restored to peak performance. Dr. Samantha Brooks treated the last of the wounded, her medical bay slowly growing quieter. Even so, the scars of battle remained, not just on the ship but within the hearts of its crew. They had faced death and emerged victorious, but none of them would ever forget the cost. One evening, Carter gathered his senior officers for a final briefing before declaring the mission complete. Standing on the bridge, he looked at each of them, Dawson, Monroe, Brooks, and felt a deep sense of pride. These men and women had risked everything to protect others. "We've done something extraordinary," he said. "But let's not fool ourselves. This isn't the end. The Krill will come back stronger next time. Our job is to make sure we're ready." Monroe nodded. "With the upgrades and the tech Zura's people are sharing, we'll be tougher to beat." Brooks added, "And we'll train harder. Everyone learns from what happened out there." Dawson smiled faintly. "We'll keep getting better. That's what humans do." When the repairs were finally complete, the Invincible Asterisk prepared to leave orbit. Before departing, Carter addressed the entire crew over the intercom. "You've all done your part to protect New Haven and forge a new alliance. Be proud of that. But remember, peace doesn't mean safety. Stay sharp, stay strong, and never stop fighting for what's right." His words echoed through the ship, met with resolute silence. As the Invincible Asterisk moved away from New Haven, the colony grew smaller in the distance. Below, settlers waved goodbye, their faces filled with hope. Above, Zara's ships formed a protective formation around the human fleet, a symbol of unity. For the first time, humanity wasn't alone in the galaxy. Out in the vastness of space, the stars shimmered like diamonds against the endless black. Somewhere beyond them, the Krill waited, plotting their revenge. But aboard the Invincible Asterisk, the crew stood ready. They had proven their courage and earned their place among the stars. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, with bravery, determination, and the unshakable belief that even in the darkest moments, light could prevail. And so, the Invincible Asterisk sailed onward, carrying not just the hopes of its crew, but the dreams of two species bound by shared struggle. The journey was far from over, but for now, they had taken the first step toward a brighter future.